I think that decision making is a part of the issue of assertiveness. We always think about assertiveness and how assertiveness you can be with other people, but you have to be assertive with yourself and make personal decisions. I know of a woman who takes somebody else to go shopping with her because she can't make a decision as to buy the pink or the blue. But back in my office, I used to have a poster that showed a dog standing between two fire hydrants, and the caption was, "Decisions, decisions." And sometimes the decisions that we are indecisive about are of no greater consequences than. I remember in the shul, there was a whole argument at a meeting from the shul organization about an affair that they were going to have, whether they should have the kichel with sugar or the kichel without sugar. I mean, decisions. But there are decisions in life that are much greater than that. I mean, you make a decision as to who you're going to marry, a decision what kind of profession you want, what kind of job you want. As a doctor, I have to make a decision how I'm going to treat the patient, right? Sometimes a decision, do we take a chance on surgery? What are the risks of surgery? So there's all levels of decision making. First thing we have to realize is we are not always going to make the correct decision, right? Only God can be right 100% of the time. I'm going to make wrong decisions. But my decision making has to be with integrity, right? If I'm going to think about whether I should operate on a patient or not, it's not because how much I can collect for the operation, right? But what is the best thing for this patient? So first of all, we have to realize that we are housed within a physical body that has desires and has impulses, etc., and that they may color our decision making. Right? We may not realize that sometimes we're bribed. Right? And the bribe is because we want things to turn out a certain way, and we don't make the decision on what is really right, because we see what is really right, what we want to be right. So there was one of the great Hasidic Rebbes who was asked by one of his followers, how can I make good decisions? So the Rebbe said, did you ever watch a tightrope walker? He said, the way a tightrope walker keeps his balance is that if he feels himself pulled over to the one side, he overcorrects by leaning to the other side. And that's how he keeps his balance. He says, when you have a desire to do something, the first thing you ought to recognize is most of the desires come from animalistic traits. So the first thing you should do is think as to why you should not do it, right? And then lean over to that side, and then you may make a decision. I think that we have to have self-confidence in our decisions and realize I am capable of making decisions. There are times when I have to ask expert advice. But given that, ultimately, the decisions are mine. And I also have to realize that not making a decision is a decision, that I've decided not to make a decision, right? And I have to realize that if I'm not going to make decisions, other people are going to make them for me, right? And that the decisions that other people are going to make for me are much worse than the worst decision that I can make for myself, right? Because I have my own interests, and most people know what's good for them. So I think that making decisions means getting the best possible information, right? And having self-confidence. I think it's appropriate to pray for decisions, right? And ask for divine guidance and help me make the right decision. And then not to be shaken by the fact that after we do the best we can, that the decision may not work out the way we want, right? And not to see that a decision that has poor consequences, not to see that as a horrible failure on our part. I always say our decisions are good or bad determined by how we made them, not what the consequences were.